Sister-in-law cheated with my ex-husband, causing my divorce, and now my brother wants me to take her in? I, 36 female, live in a big house that my ex-husband and I bought when we were married. We've been divorced for 3 years now, and the reason for our divorce is something I've kept a secret from almost everyone, except a few close friends. The reason for our separation involves my brother's wife, 32 female. My brother, Dan, 38 male, and his wife, Lisa, recently lost their home due to financial difficulties. They have 2 kids, aged 7 and 9. The 4 of them have been living in a small apartment and are desperate for more space. A few weeks ago, Dan approached me, saying they were struggling with the cramped conditions and that the kids were finding it difficult to adjust. He asked if they could move into my house, considering it's just me living in this large space. He reasoned that since I was divorced, I didn't need all the room. Initially, I felt sympathy. It's family, after all, and I wouldn't want my nephews to suffer. But, when he demanded rather than asked, saying that I had no need for such a large house, I felt cornered. I felt like he was trying to take advantage of my situation and impose on my personal space. In a moment of anger and frustration, I blurted out the truth. I told him that the reason I was divorced was that my ex-husband had an affair. He seemed taken aback but was silent, expecting me to say more. I could see the dread in Lisa's face, but I couldn't stop myself. I added that the person my ex-husband had an affair with was Lisa. You could hear a pin drop in that room. Dan's face went from shock to confusion to disbelief, and then anger. Lisa began crying, trying to deny it, but it was clear from her reaction that I was telling the truth. My brother, heartbroken and furious, demanded the truth from Lisa. After a long, painful silence, she confessed. In that moment, I felt a strange mix of relief and guilt. Relief because a burden I'd been carrying for years was finally off my chest. Guilt because I had just upended my brother's world. Now, my house is more chaotic than ever. My brother is living with me temporarily, trying to make sense of this new reality, while Lisa has moved out to live with her parents. I'm stuck in the middle of a family feud, all while dealing with the guilt and sadness of exposing the affair that ended my marriage. Update 1, the situation at home is tense, to put it mildly. Dan is still living with me, and we're walking on eggshells around each other. He's a whirlwind of emotions right now, grappling with anger, betrayal, and confusion. He's trying to keep things normal for his kids, who are confused and upset about why their mom isn't living with them. Lisa, on the other hand, has been reaching out to me. She's been calling, apologizing, and begging for forgiveness. She says she deeply regrets her actions, and that she was young and made a terrible mistake. She confessed that she wanted to tell Dan many times but was too scared of the repercussions. While I understand her regret, it's difficult for me to sympathize with her completely given the pain her actions caused. I've been struggling with guilt myself. Every time I see Dan's face, I'm reminded of the bombshell I dropped on him. It feels like I ripped off a band-aid from a wound that was never treated properly. Even though I had every right to speak up, I can't shake off the feeling that I should have handled the situation better. Maybe I should have spoken to Lisa privately first, asked her to come clean. Maybe I shouldn't have let my anger dictate my actions. In an attempt to help Dan, I've been researching therapists and divorce lawyers in our area. He's not in a state to do it himself, and I feel like this is the least I can do. We've also been having family meetings with the kids, trying to explain the situation in the most kid-friendly way possible. It's a heartbreaking situation, and I feel helpless most of the time. Amid all this chaos, I've been questioning my decision to live in this large house alone. Did I cling onto it out of stubbornness, to show Lisa and my ex-husband that they hadn't broken me? Or did I genuinely need the space and solitude after the divorce? I've been contemplating selling the house and moving somewhere smaller, somewhere without all the painful memories. Dan and I have been trying to navigate this situation as best as we can. Despite everything, we're still family, and I care about him and his kids. I just wish I had handled the situation better, not let my frustration and anger lead to such an explosive revelation. I still feel lost and guilty, and I'm not sure how to move forward from this. Am I the a-hole for letting my feelings take over and causing such a turmoil in my family? How do I help my brother and his kids through this difficult time while also dealing with my own guilt and regret? Update 2, since the last time I posted, Lisa has filed for divorce. Dan was devastated, but he's slowly coming to terms with the reality of his situation. There have been several difficult conversations between him and Lisa, mostly about how to break the news to their kids and how they would share custody. It's heart-wrenching to see my brother go through the same pain I did, knowing that I played a part in revealing the truth that led to this. The kids are struggling too. They miss their mother and can't understand why they can't see her regularly. Dan and I have been trying our best to explain to them that their parents needed some time apart, but it's hard to know if they fully understand. Lisa reached out to me again, this time to apologize sincerely for everything that happened. She admitted that she should have come clean years ago, and she deeply regrets causing so much pain. As much as I wanted to hold on to my anger towards her, I found myself forgiving her. I told her that we both needed to do what was best for the kids now, to which she agreed. I'm still living with the guilt of revealing the affair, but the support I've received from you, Reddit, has helped me see things from a different perspective. It was a painful truth that had to come out eventually, and while the revelation was abrupt and dramatic, it may have been necessary to move forward. I've also started seeing a therapist to deal with the guilt and the lingering pain from my divorce. It's been incredibly helpful to talk to someone unbiased about my feelings and my role in this entire situation. I've been learning to forgive myself and understand that while I could have handled things differently, I was pushed into a corner and acted out of hurt and frustration. On a more practical note, I've decided against selling the house. After much contemplation, I realized that the house wasn't just a painful reminder of my past, it was also my home, where I found peace and solitude. Instead, I've started making changes to the house, redecorating and rearranging, trying to create new memories. It's been a challenging few weeks, filled with a lot of hurt, confusion, and guilt. However, amidst all this chaos, Dan and I have found a strange sense of solidarity. We're supporting each other through this difficult time, and I think it's slowly helping us heal. However, I still can't help but wonder if I did the right thing. Am I the a-hole for how I handled the situation, even if it led to so much pain? Is there a better way I could have managed things, or am I just burdening myself with unnecessary guilt? Update 3, Dan and Lisa are officially divorced now. It was a tough process, especially for the kids, but they managed to keep it civil for their sake. Lisa has started to rebuild her life separately and has been making genuine efforts to be a good mother, despite the circumstances. She's also been attending therapy, trying to make amends for the past. Dan, on the other hand, is in a much better place now. He still lives with me, but we've found a rhythm in our cohabitation. We've even taken to sharing household responsibilities and caring for the kids together. It's a strange makeshift family setup, but it's working for us right now. Therapy has been a godsend for me. I've been able to work through a lot of the guilt and resentment I had been carrying around. I've learned that while my approach to revealing the truth was flawed, it doesn't entirely make me an asshole. I was reacting from a place of hurt and betrayal, which anyone in my situation could have done. It doesn't excuse it, but it does provide context. The house no longer feels like a monument to my failed marriage. Instead, it's become a haven for my little makeshift family. I've completed the redecoration, and it's been therapeutic. Every new piece of furniture or decor feels like I'm taking back a piece of my life, creating a space that truly feels like mine. The kids are adapting to their new reality as well. They see both their parents regularly and understand that mom and dad need to be apart for a while. It's been challenging, but children are resilient. Dan and I have been doing everything we can to ensure they feel loved and secure. There are still moments of awkwardness, moments when the past sneaks up on us, but we're learning to navigate them. In a strange way, this whole ordeal has brought Dan and me closer. We understand each other's pain and support one another. Finally, I've learned a valuable lesson in all of this. Family isn't just about blood relationships, it's about who stands by you when things get tough. It's about understanding, support, and love, even when mistakes are made. And while I could have handled the situation better, I think we're all on a path towards healing now. But I still have moments of doubt. Was I the asshole in this whole scenario? Could I have avoided causing so much hurt and chaos in my family's life? I'm learning to forgive myself, but I'd love to hear your thoughts, Reddit. Your advice and perspective have been invaluable to me throughout this journey. Opinion 1, not the a-hole. You were put in a challenging position, and you reacted. Yes, the revelation could have been handled differently, but it's understandable why you did it the way you did. This truth was bound to come out one way or another. It's important now to focus on healing and moving forward, which it seems like you're doing. Opinion 2, everyone sucks here. I sympathize with your situation, and what Lisa did was definitely wrong, but the way you revealed the truth was not the best approach. It caused a lot of immediate hurt and chaos. In future, it's better to have these difficult conversations in private. However, it's clear you're working towards making amends and helping your brother, which is commendable. Opinion 3, no a-hole here. It's a difficult judgment to make. You were hurt, and your reaction, although severe, was fueled by years of repressed anger and hurt. On the other hand, Lisa and your ex-husband did something horrible, but they're showing remorse. It seems everyone is trying to mend their ways and work towards a better future, which is what truly matters. The best thing you can do is learn from this experience and use it to grow and become a better person. I, 28 female, am getting married in a couple of months to my wonderful fiancé, Sam, 30 male. We are both over the moon and are excitedly planning our dream wedding. However, there's a big issue that has cropped up, which is causing me immense stress: my biological parents. To give you a bit of context, my biological parents were very young when they had me, and they were not ready to be parents. My childhood was filled with neglect, instability, and emotional turmoil due to their reckless lifestyle and indifference towards my well-being. They were constantly in and out of jobs, moving from place to place, and generally living a life that was not conducive to raising a child. I was often left to fend for myself, and I remember many nights going to bed hungry and scared. When I was 8, Child Protective Services intervened, and I was taken away from my biological parents. It was a traumatic time, but in retrospect, it was the best thing that happened to me. I was placed in foster care and eventually adopted by the most loving and caring couple, John and Mary, who I consider my real parents. They provided me with the stable, nurturing home I'd always craved, and I owe them everything. Fast forward to the present, my biological parents have, over the years, made some half-hearted attempts to reconnect with me. They claim to have turned their lives around and express regret for their past actions. However, their efforts always felt superficial to me, more for their own guilt alleviation than any genuine concern for me. I've kept my distance, maintaining minimal contact with them out of a sense of obligation more than anything else. When I announced my engagement, they reached out, congratulating me and expressing their wish to attend the wedding. The mere thought of them being there, playing the role of the doting parents after years of neglect, made my blood boil. After discussing it with Sam, who has been incredibly supportive, I decided that I don't want them at my wedding. I explained my decision to them calmly, stating that their presence would cause me distress on a day that's meant to be about joy and love. As expected, they didn't take it well and accused me of being vindictive and heartless. Some relatives, who know about my past but believe in forgiveness, have also criticized me for this decision. They argue that people can change and that I'm denying my biological parents a chance to make amends. The backlash has left me questioning my decision. I don't want my wedding day to be overshadowed by their presence and the memories of my troubled past. On the other hand, I wonder if I'm being too harsh by completely excluding them. Update 1. Following the advice of some of you, I sat down and had a heart-to-heart with my adoptive parents, John and Mary. They've always been my pillars of strength and the embodiment of what real parents should be. They were aware of the turmoil I was experiencing, and as always, they listened patiently and empathetically. I told them about the situation and the backlash I've been receiving from certain relatives. They reassured me that it was my day, and the people present should only be those who make me happy. They also reminded me that while they fully support my decision, it's essential to make choices I can live with in the long run, without regrets. They proposed an idea: to have a mediated meeting with my biological parents before the wedding. Their thinking was that this meeting could provide a platform for open communication and closure, regardless of whether it changes the decision about their attendance at the wedding. At first, I was resistant to the idea. The thought of facing my biological parents and discussing the painful past seemed daunting. But after much contemplation, I saw the wisdom in what my parents suggested. If my biological parents truly have changed and are remorseful, this could be an opportunity for them to express that genuinely. And even if it doesn't lead to reconciliation, it might bring me the closure I need to move forward. So, I've agreed to this meeting, which we plan to conduct in a neutral space, with my adoptive parents present for moral support. I am nervous but hopeful that this will help clear the air and firm up my decision about their presence at the wedding. I've also taken to heart those comments suggesting professional therapy to work through my feelings about my biological parents. I've reached out to a therapist and have started attending sessions. It's been a cathartic process so far, and I'm starting to understand the depth of the emotional scars I've carried for years. As for Sam, he continues to stand by my side, being the rock that he is. He supports the idea of the meeting and has agreed to be present if I need him to be. His unwavering love and support have been a constant source of strength for me in these challenging times. Update 2. We met at a local cafe, a neutral space, as planned. John, Mary, Sam, and I arrived together, and my biological parents were already there. I could feel the tension in the air as we sat down. They looked older, a little worn down by life, but the sight of them still triggered old feelings of anger and abandonment. They started by expressing their joy about my upcoming wedding and then delved into a long monologue about their life changes, their regrets, and their hopes of making things right. They expressed sorrow for what they'd put me through and asked for a chance to be a part of my life again, starting with attending the wedding. However, as the conversation progressed, I noticed familiar patterns. When asked about specifics of their new life and the actions they'd taken to better themselves, their answers were vague. They deflected and turned the conversation back to their wish to attend the wedding. Their lack of authenticity confirmed my fears and made me realize that they hadn't really changed. They were still the same people who had neglected their responsibilities all those years ago, just older. It was heartbreaking but also liberating in a strange way. It cemented my decision about not wanting them at my wedding. I communicated my decision to them, explaining that their presence at my wedding would only serve as a painful reminder of a past I've worked hard to overcome. As expected, they didn't take it well. Accusations flew, guilt was attempted to be imposed, but I stood firm, drawing strength from my loving family by my side. The fallout from the meeting has been significant. My biological parents have reached out to more relatives, painting themselves as victims. This has led to more pressure from some family members, which is disheartening. However, I have also received support from unexpected quarters, with some relatives standing by my decision and expressing their disappointment in my biological parents' manipulative behavior. Despite the drama, I feel more confident in my decision than ever before. I'm mentally preparing myself for the potential of them showing up uninvited on the day, but I am also firm in my decision to not let anything ruin the most important day of my life. Update 3, the wedding day arrived, a mix of joy and trepidation filling the air. The planning had gone as smoothly as possible, and I found myself standing at the venue, all dolled up, ready to marry the love of my life. However, the shadow of my biological parents and the possibility of their uninvited presence loomed large in my mind. Just as the ceremony was about to begin, I saw them. They had indeed shown up, uninvited. My heart sank as I saw them trying to blend in with the crowd, their faces a mix of defiance and apprehension. I felt a surge of anger, but then, something remarkable happened. Sam, ever my rock, squeezed my hand and whispered, "No matter what, today is our day." John and Mary, standing nearby, echoed his sentiments. Their words grounded me, and I felt a renewed sense of determination. I decided then and there not to let their intrusive presence spoil the joy of my wedding day. We informed the security about the situation. The staff, prepared for this potential scenario, calmly and discreetly escorted my biological parents out of the venue. There were some murmurs among the crowd, but we carried on with the ceremony as planned. The rest of the day went off beautifully. The love and happiness that filled the room far outweighed the initial hiccup. Our guests celebrated with us, creating memories we will cherish forever. In the aftermath of the wedding, there has been fallout. Some relatives are disappointed with the way things were handled, but many have expressed their understanding and support, for which I am grateful. My biological parents have gone quiet for now, which I consider a small mercy. The whole experience, while stressful, has made me realize the strength I possess and the love that surrounds me. It has shown me that while I cannot change my past, I can control how it affects my present and future. The journey has also deepened my appreciation for the wonderful people in my life, my parents, John and Mary, my incredible husband, Sam, and even you, Reddit, for being there during this tough time. Going forward, I plan to continue therapy to fully address my feelings towards my biological parents. I have also decided to limit contact with them for my own mental peace, as the wedding debacle has shown me that they might not truly be ready for the relationship they claim to want.